So I know this video is going to be a little different from my other videos. I thought I'd try something different today. And this was kind of sparked today because I was looking at... I remember yesterday I was looking just through videos on YouTube, and I was watching a lot of... I kind of fell down a rabbit hole, as you do on YouTube, where I was pretty much watching videos all pretty much saying the same thing. Megalodon is extinct. And yes, it's extinct. I'm not here to be like, this isn't a video like, well, actually, it could actually still be... No, that thing's dead. It's dead for a multitude of reasons. Sorry, I got like a smudge on my glasses that are just driving me nuts. It's dead. It's straight up dead. Like, Megalodon is extinct for a multitude of reasons. But, you know, since a lot of people talk about, like, well, Megalodon could still be alive and it could easily survive today, I'm here to tell you that's not gonna happen. That would not work. So, this video is basically talking about why Megalodon could not survive in the modern world for a multitude of reasons. Probably gonna shorten that title, though. Anyway, so, for sake of argument, let's say we have a Megalodon out in the ocean in present day. Just one. Just like let's say, like, the dumbass theory of, oh, it came out from beneath the ocean, like the ocean depths of the Mariana Trench, because a shark that required a ton of of warm water lived in the coldest, darkest part of the sea. For sake of argument, let's just say it's there. Megalodon is now out in the ocean. Here's our first reason as to why it wouldn't last long, and you're probably thinking, oh, the military would blow it out of the ocean. No, it'd probably be protected. It'd probably be, like, realistically, most people would want to protect the creature, and it's just one. There's no, like, it's just one. It's just, like, for sake of argument for this scenario, it's like one Megalodon. It's not pregnant. It's not like, you know, it's going to give birth, or there's two and they're going to breed or something. No, it's just one. So obviously, the scientists and, like, governments of the world would want to protect it because it's a protected species. Because for this scenario to work, it would be like, well, maybe that's the only one. Like, maybe that's the only one that's the last one, for all we know. So we're going to protect it. Here's the problem: it has nothing to eat. What are you talking about? You say. There's tons of stuff to eat. No, there's not. Here's the problem with your major problem with being unable to keep Megalodon alive in this era. You see, back millions of years ago, the ocean was teeming with life. And not to say it's not today, but back then, you couldn't swim like 5 feet without running into something that would also probably kill you, but that's beside the point. The point is that the ocean was way more filled with life than it is today, and a lot of those life forms and other creatures were all massive. They were all massive creatures that Megalodon existed with, and with size comes calories. You see, Megalodon, realistically, a shark of that size would need to eat constantly, or at the very least eat every few days, and that requires a lot of calories. The problem is, if you put a Megalodon in modern day ocean, in the modern day sea, it's going to have a lot harder time to feed. First off, ocean is pretty fucking big. It's going to have to swim many miles to find at least a whale, like, let alone one whale or a pod of whales. And even then, the whales that are out here today were nothing compared to the whales that it hunted in the past. Yes, it was a whale killer, but the thing is that the whales it would be hunting now would be either, too small, or not, like, basically they wouldn't have the same level of calories that, a Megalodon would need to eat. And like I said, to travel to find these whales, it would need to eat and it would need to power. It would need a lot of energy. Energy it's not going to be able to have to travel from point A to point B. So there's your first problem right there, is that it's not going to have the energy to just swim miles. Sharks need to eat. like, we've seen this before with, like, great whites and hammerheads, is that on a travel, even if they're hunting something, if they're, like, following a migration pattern, or they're following, fish migration patterns, they will need to eat, like, take breaks, and kind of like us on a road trip. You need to stop and eat. That's the problem with having a Megalodon today, is that it would constantly, and sadly, the number of whales out in the sea are not to the same level as it was back then. It's not like, a Megalodon could just find a whale. Ocean's pretty fucking big. So, it's going to have to, like, just swim thousands of miles to get to one whale. And that's if it was lucky. Speaking of whales, let's talk about the second reason, and this is probably the bigger reason why a Megalodon could not survive in modern-day ocean, in the modern-day sea. Whales are a little tougher these days. Sperm whales, for instance. Those things will throw hands with a giant squid on a daily basis. Now, I know what you're already going to say. Like, some people are probably going to say, oh, like, we've never seen a giant squid before, and, we know it exists deep in the sea, so why not Megalodon? Again, Megalodon's body was not, like most sharks, was not built for deep sea, diving. It needs warm water, like a vast majority of sharks. Other reason, we know it's real because the scar tissue that is on sperm whales is exactly like that of beaks and claws within a tentacle of a squid. Furthermore, we have photographic and video evidence of giant squids. We have a few now, actually. The other... and the bodies. This is the big one. Bodies kind of land on, end up on the sea. And if Megalodon was real, we would have seen at least a carcass wash up on the shore by now. Like, that's the thing, is, like, squid bodies have been showing up on beaches for decades. If Megalodon hypothetically was real, then a carcass would by now have landed somewhere on a beach. And don't tell me, oh, they would have covered up. You ain't going to be able to cover up a 40-plus foot size shark. Now, getting back to my point in general, is that food competition is a big thing. And this is what really drove Megalodon to extinction, was competition for food. You see, as the world got, as the ocean got larger, life forms got smaller. The problem with that was that Megalodon just could not adapt. And one of the things that killed it was competing for food against its own cousin, the great white. Great whites were faster, they were more compact, and they could probably breed faster too. So competing for food was kind of a problem. And here's another problem that is basically, and would probably be the real death nail for any Megalodon. And you're going to laugh when I say this, but hang on, I got a point for this. Orcas. Orcas would be probably the biggest killer of Megalodons. And you're probably thinking, well, that's stupid, there's no way. Do you know what these things are what a orca is capable of? Do you not know? Those things are fucking psychopaths. Be so thankful that they don't have any interest in humans, because if they did, we'd never go in the ocean ever again. These things have one of the largest brains known to man, and they have been known to kill animals for fun. Like, for instance, it's been documented that a pod of orcas tormented a single stingray by just smashing it with their tail in the water and stunning it until it got so exhausted it sank to the bottom and drowned. Like, it just died of exhaustion. Well, obviously it didn't drown. You know what I mean? Like, it just got smacked around enough that it just died of exhaustion. And they didn't eat it. They just watched. So, also, these things are the only known predator of the great white. So, imagine, real quick, just imagine, a pod of orcas against a Megalodon. A creature that, that is not known for speed. A creature that has been hypothesized not known for speed, for accuracy, more like an ambush predator, like most sharks. How do you think it's going to handle a pod of, like, a bunch of orcas? And trust me, like, again, going back to the hypothetical of it's one Megalodon out in the sea, and maybe it'll kill an orca, maybe it'll kill one or two. That's the thing. Orcas learn. They learn quick. And they'll take knowledge that they've used from previous hunts and apply it to something else. So it's probably like, oh, it's a shark. We know how to kill sharks. They will flip that shit on it. They will flip the bitch over and eat its liver, and then let the body fall to the ocean. Among other things, like those are the two biggest things, is that the ocean is too hot for a Megalodon. You may be thinking, well, wait a minute, Multi, you talked about how a Megalodon needed warm water to exist. That's correct. But there is such a thing as too hot. And the oceans today are too warm for a creature of that size. I mean, it's almost intolerable for most sperm whales and blue whales. How do you think a fucking Goliath-sized shark's gonna handle it? Not good. So, yeah, Megalodon's dead. And if it ever did come back, through some weird act of science or God, it wouldn't last long, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, I thought this would be a fun new video to kind of do. You guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this? Do you guys like this? I don't know, I don't really get to talk a lot about dinosaurs or prehistoric life, which I love talking about, so I thought this would be a neat little change of pace. Anyway, and as always, if you haven't already, hit the link below to my Patreon to join up there, and if you hit the 4th tier, you can send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.